So now count down. It just starts.
It just did.
Oh,
It did what? It did 3, 2, 1.
I wasn't looking at this.
Welcome to a special episode of Flocking with You. I'm MJ from Northern Virginia. However, today I am in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota with my mother, Edie, who is an avid quilter, and my youngest daughter, Chloe, who is a quilter, potter, knitter, sewist. Okay, she says not a quilter. And soon to be stained glass worker. I don't know. Designer, builder, maker. What is it?
I don't know. It's
okay.
Learning.
Learning. Okay. So I will probably insert my Vlogmas countdown in this video and just call it like a Vlogmas recap. And because I didn't edit and post every day, so may or may not be of interest to some people. Maybe I'll do it in chunks so you can fast forward through it if you want. It's mostly just me opening up my my Pancake and Lulu Advent kit, which was really lovely this year. And she does super fun Advent kits. This is not a paid promotion in any way. I just really liked it. And then you get like a recipe card with QR codes, and you can make a color coordinated treat or drink to go with your yarn for the day. And it's really fun. And this is the second year that we have done Pancake and Lulu.
I don't think we've ever made any of it.
We haven't made any of the recipes. No, but we've looked them up and they look lovely. All right, so let's start with what I'm wearing. You've probably seen this before. I'm not sure. It's a couple years old. It's called the Scaro, and I will put the name of the pattern and maybe my Ravelry picture or something on the screen. And it's a neat sweater, and it has a different kind of shoulder construction. I had a little bit of trouble making it initially, but that was me following the pattern versus, not following the pattern. So Edie here is wearing the Lento. We won't make her stand up though. I'll just kind of turn the camera. I think I've had this on screen before, and that is made with Fiber MacGyver's fingering held with a Surrey alpaca by Lang, and it's really lovely. And the Lento is by a designer that was published in Lina magazine, and you can buy the pattern separately on Ravelry, and I guess I'll put a link to that here as well. Totally not a paid promotion in any way. It's just a kind of a instant gratification sweater because it knits up really quick. And Chloe here is wearing a sweater called Gallant, I think, Gallant. And I've made about 4 of them. And I think this is Mrs. Plump, maybe. I'll put the name of the yarn in the show notes or the description down below. And yeah, that was a fun, super fast knit sweater. I think maybe 3 days tops, maybe a couple hours a day.
That one that Grandma was wearing, because this one is different.
Oh, okay. So Chloe's going to grab a different sweater. And what did I finish recently? So unfortunately, you don't get to see the hat. I used Pearl Soho's Merino Bloom and some Lang mohair, and made a hat for my uncle. Hey, editing MJ here. It was totally not Lang yarn. It was Iciger, and it's color number 67, which is kind of a pale, sagey green, and it is super kid mohair. That's it. Back to the show. Okay, Chloe's back with the sweater. So this is another Gallant sweater, and this is made out of Loopy mango yarn. It's like super,
It's heavy.
Super squishy and heavy and thick. And I don't know. If you needed to whip up a sweater to wear out on chilly days and you only have a couple days to knit it, this might be it. And I will put that in the notes as well.
But the reason I brought it out is because this one's different.
Oh,
Because I told you I don't like the
the cuffs.
the cuff and the neckline on this. So she did ribbing
I did a ribbing cuff.
on the cuff and the neck.
And yeah. And this has a it's not I-cord bind off. It was a I'll look up what kind of bind off it was on the cuff, but it was interesting. It was the first time I had done that. Of course, you know, in the initial beginning of the pandemic, this was the first sweater, not this particular one, but the first sweater pattern that I ever really made as a garment to wear. And it kicked off my garment making desire. And I've
The bug.
I have since made over 30 sweaters. I have kind of lost count.
Got a different kind of bug during COVID.
Yeah, I got a different kind of bug. The kind I can live with. For now, yeah. So when I initially saw this pattern, going back to the Scaro, I didn't really like the neckline. It kind of depends on how you're sitting and I guess maybe how tall you make it. But it is a really lovely sweater. And the yarn on this one was Woolfolk, I think. And I will also include that in the show notes. And maybe I'll put a picture of me kind of walking in it with my dog if I haven't shown it before. So let's see. Okay. A hat that is currently in the works is another On the Sea Train. And this hat, you start out with a smaller needle and then eventually change to a larger needle. But I don't know where my other one is. I have one that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I even did surgery on it and tried to go a different direction and knit it, but it still flared out. And I didn't like the line of changing direction of the knits going one way and the knits going another way. So then I just undid all that and then I reknit it tighter on a smaller needle. And I love the hat, but it just keeps flaring out. And so this one I knit on a smaller needle and I didn't change to a bigger needle. And I'm just sticking with this needle size all the way up. And it's on a size 5 needle. Or 3.75. I usually use the millimeter size because there are millimeter size needles that there are not a corresponding US needle size for. And I usually find myself in that. Sometimes you'll find a US 2 that is different than the 2 you're used to because it was a half millimeter size that we don't normally have. Oh, Chloe found my what was that cartoon character on Fat Albert that had the hat that came down over his eyes? Hey, you want to go grab my pink glasses for me off the nightstand? Because I can see better with those. Where's Grandma's hat? That is a good question.
My hat?
Yeah.
Hat that you got for Christmas.
Yeah, I gave you a hat for Christmas.
Did you?
So this is the hat that keeps growing. You can see it is growing, but I just love it. And I wear it, but it does have the tendency to slip off my head sometimes, especially in the car. But if I'm just out walking and as long as it's not windy, it does stay on my head. And it is also made with Woolfolk Far, held with a mohair from, oh my goodness, it is a English yarn company, starts with a K, and I will put that in the show notes too. Maybe I'll find my little picture of my stuff that I just bought at Barcelona Knits last month and insert a picture of that in here.
Editing MJ back again. So aren't these just the sweetest little things?
Oh, Chloe brought my pink glasses. Yay, I can see. All right. These have a little more magnification. So, this pattern, I don't know if I mentioned, is called On the Sea Train, and it's free from, I don't even know how to say, Espace Tricot out of Canada. At least it was free. I'm not sure if it still is.
I feel like all of their stuff is free.
I think they started charging unless you buy the yarn from them. Yeah. And I don't know if the two young ladies still own that store. I heard that they sold it, but when I heard that, I don't know if they were talking about the previous owners who sold to the two young ladies now or what. So I'll have to get the scoop on that. But I like to order from them occasionally.
I'm out of the loop. I don't keep tabs on that
stuff. I know. Yeah. So On the Sea Train. And this one is also Woolfolk Far, this one's held with a mohair that is...
So it was knitting for Olive?
Yeah, knitting for Olive. You know, I have mixed emotions about mohair. I talked about it in a previous episode. A lot of mohair is not that soft, and I think it primarily has to do with, how well it is selected in the making process. And then there is super kid mohair, which is the very first shearing of the goat, I believe. And then there's kid mohair, which is the second shearing of the goat. And then there's just mohair, which is sheared at any time on that animal. And like lamb's wool, it's always softer than the wool of a adult sheep that's, been sheared many times before. So I think it's kind of along that premise. And I find the super kid, the first shearing, to be the least prickly. If anybody has thoughts about mohair being prickly, maybe they need to try super kid mohair. So that is...
What is that?
What?
Knitting for Olive.
Oh, Knitting for Olive. I don't think Knitting for Olive is super kid. I think it's just mohair. Yeah. But I could be wrong. I'll make sure I clarify that in the show notes if it's mohair or kid mohair or super kid mohair. So that is my only current whip with me, I guess. I have other things at home, usually shawls. I don't tend to finish shawls very well. I get bored, I guess. Plus, I don't like, when you get to like 236 stitches or so on the needles, and it gets to be a really long time to make one row. Chloe's kind of working on something right now that is in that category.
But it's not as... I don't have to do as many rows as you would in the shawl, so it's... I don't want to say more gratifying, but at least less daunting, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, so she's working on a pattern, a garment from a pattern called Radvent by Amba O'Brien. And I made a Radvent sweater a couple years ago with an Advent kit from Leo and Roxy, which was a really cute Advent kit. Anyway, hers is also from an Advent kit. What yarn is that? Is it the leftover yarn from your Advent kit from Pancake and Lulu?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She made a shawl from Pancake and Lulu's Advent last year, and she's using
This is the year before last.
Oh, the year before last. Mm-hmm. And then she's using the leftovers from that shawl in this Radvent kit, Radvent sweater. And did you mirror yours like I did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the pattern really is like you go from one color to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's knit starting at the cuff on, and then you do the same thing on this side, and then you center join it. And so what I wanted was I have a thing about symmetry, and I wanted it to be a mirror. So I divided all my yarns in half, and then I just used the center color as the join. And Chloe did the same thing with her Radvent. But, if you don't have to have perfect symmetry in your life and you like going from one color all the way to the other end, then you can do that. And so this is how she mirrored it. So starting There we go. Yeah. And then it's sewed up the center. And then you pick up and do a waistband. And then you pick up and do a neck band collar. I guess it's a neck
It's
band.
the collar and the button band. And
Collar.
But you and I didn't do buttons.
Yeah, we didn't do buttons. I don't like putting holes in the sweaters. So that is what Chloe is currently working on. You want to grab your hat? You finished that hat. That hat.
Yarn chicken hat.
So Chloe got a kind of a surprise skein in with an order from Woolen Company, and we didn't really know why she had this. Was it Woolen Company?
Yeah. Woolen Co.
Okay. We didn't really know why she had this extra skein in there. Did you call them and ask them about it? Mm-hmm. No? Okay, well, don't tell anybody.
I figured they were just being nice. I don't know.
They do give free samples occasionally, so.
It's Acadia?
Yeah, Acadia yarn. And
alpaca, wool, and silk, I think. And it felt really nice on the skein.
This is, what hat is this? The Manhattan by Tori Yu? Yeah. Here, I can put it on.
This is not a Manhattan. This is...
Is it supposed to be folded?
Yeah.
What
do you have on your head?
I know.
I
have a clam clip, whatever those are called. Okay.
But I think part of it is it's not really long enough. Like there's not as much extra.
Oh, because you were playing yarn chicken?
Yeah. And then my Kitchener is not well tensioned.
She's getting the...
So like this one is like really flat.
Getting the peaks.
I said this isn't a Manhattan. I think I started knitting this from a free pattern because it only had like 84 stitches or something, and this is 104.
Okay.
But then I finished it like it was the Manhattan hat. So I like the way that looks, but I unfortunately don't like the way this one looks.
And her hat here is made with some
folk far.
I wonder what happened there.
I don't know. It didn't like that I held this up here. It did something weird.
Oh.
But it's still going.
Okay. So, oh, there we go. Anyway, her hat is made with woolfolk and this lovely mohair and I'm not sure what else, cashmere, mohair, and silk from Neighborhood Fiber Company, which I believe might be shutting down. But it's their original base. So even if you got Capital Luxury in more recent times, the base was not as nice currently as this original.
It's still
base.
nice.
It's still lovely, but this one is like extra special. I don't know what kind of magic they put in it in that original base. But so Chloe thinks this hat's a little prickly because of the alpaca, perhaps. Some people find alpaca prickly. I think this one is a little prickly too, and I normally don't have a problem with alpaca. I wear a lot of alpaca.
Have you ever used that mohair before, though?
I have not. What mohair is it?
The Ito?
Oh, Ito. I don't think I have put Ito in a hat before, so... I'll have to look up if Ito is Super Kid or just mohair. But Ito comes in lots of colors, and it's a Japan yarn, I believe. And they have a lot of their yarn is prickly, so I guess they're not sensitive to prickly yarn. I don't know. What else do we have to talk about knitting wise?
Can you show Grandma's knitting?
Grandma's knitting.
She doesn't have any.
That's not what you said yesterday.
She has some, but I don't know how long ago she knit it. That was Probably,
At least 20 years ago.
I don't know if it was quite that long ago. Maybe. I don't know. But I think that was the first time that I had learned how to do double knitting because she had made a scarf that was knit by knitting and slipping and knitting and slipping and then, slipping and knitting and slipping and knitting. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I can show you my little final few skeins from the Advent kit. I don't know. Do they have day numbers on it?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's 25.
What base is that? Euro?
Yeah, I did Euro fingering, so it's a superwash merino. I do probably plan on doing less superwash, but the dyers will have to get into less superwash in order for that to really be a thing. Okay, so this is 25 and this is 24. And that's day 21. This must be 23. Yep, day 23. And then
22.
day 22 and then day 21. Because that's about what day it was when we came to Minnesota. So, and they're really lovely. Chloe likes their single ply fingering.
This is single ply.
Yeah, she gets their single ply fingering.
Say that like I'm a frequent flyer.
No.
I just have the one Advent.
Okay, well,
I guess I have that last year's Advent too, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
I didn't do anything with my last year's Advent yet either, and I'm already on this one. So I need to.
I feel like your tastes have changed since then, and that you would appreciate last year's more now.
More now? Okay.
She's gotten more into like mustardy kind of colors and darker pinks.
Yeah, I used to say I absolutely hate autumn because it's all the colors I don't like. But recently it's been all about like golden yellow and browns. Like even my pants are like golden yellow. So, well, I will insert some Vlogmas stuff in here, and I don't know that we have any other topics to discuss.
So you want to talk about Grandma's quilt?
Grandma's quilting? Well, we said she's an avid quilter. I said I've made over 30 sweaters. I can't even venture to guess how many quilts she's made over her lifetime.
I have no idea.
How many do you think you made a year?
3, 4?
3 or 4? Times how many years do you think? I think you started quilting like in the early 80s. So we're in the early 20s. So 45 years. You think only 3 or 4? I think you made more than that. I think you would give 3 or 4 out at Christmas and then 1 or 2 for birthdays. Let's say 5 a year on the conservative end. So 5 times about 45 years.
So we lost audio here because I picked up my phone to use the calculator on it, and I had set my phone to be the microphone for the podcast. So basically, we determined that my mom has been quilting and made somewhere between 225 and 250 quilts. And then I also said not only that, but since she retired, she had been working for Community Emergency Assistance Program in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, at a church where they do quilting, and it's like a quilt factory. And they also make children's clothes for people who have been either burned out of their house or are refugees or maybe been evicted and starting over and don't have their belongings. And so they make quilts, and they even make quilts for babies. And I'm sorry if this is really awkward with my voiceover where there's no audio. So she had been doing that for about 24 or 25 years now. And she's 89 and still doing this. She's a very generous lady.
$24.
So 24 years. Okay. I thought 30, but close, pretty close. 24 years she's been doing that. She's 89. So, I guess that's about it, maybe?
I guess.
Okay.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. She said bye.
We have added to our little decoration little mittens and the little no problema llamas. I'm recording. I started recording. That's what it meant.
All right, take 2.
Pretty.
Midori sour.
It's really pretty. What day is it?